They mocked his mail-order rifle until he killed 11 Japanese snipers in just 4 days. Who was this man, and how did a civilian rifle change the course of a battle in the Pacific? It was November 1943 on a small, sweltering island deep in the Pacific Theater, part of the brutal island-hopping campaign against the Japanese Empire. The U.S. Army had landed, and Japanese sniper teams were stalking the American lines, picking off soldiers one by one. The unit in question? A company from the 132nd Infantry Regiment, part of a larger force trying to secure the island. Among them was a quiet second lieutenant, John George, who carried a rifle not issued by the U.S. military, but bought with his own money via mail order back home. Little did the men around him know that this civilian deer rifle would become a lethal counter-sniper tool and change how his comrades thought about marksmanship forever. What happened next would become legendary. John George was not your stereotypical frontline officer. Before the war, he was an avid hunter, raised in rural America, familiar with the feel of a bolt-action rifle in his hands. When he was commissioned as second lieutenant, U.S. Army, he shipped out to the Pacific to join the fight. His unit, the 132nd Infantry Regiment, was tasked with clearing dense jungle and ridgelines where Japanese snipers lurked in treetops or concealed bunkers. Those sniper teams, often using Japanese Arisaka Type 97 or Type 99 rifles with scopes, were deadly. The Japanese had perfected camouflage and fieldcraft, turning any tree, chunk of rock, or shell hole into a sniper hide. According to historian John Walter, Allied troops faced serious challenges countering them. George's own side, meanwhile, was armed with standard-issue weapons: the bolt-action M1903 Springfield, the semi-automatic M1 Garand, bars, and machine guns. But despite the firepower, snipers still wreaked havoc. Some in his company joked about George's privately purchased rifle. "Why'd he bring that old deer hunter piece over here?" they said. "Mail-order rifle, what use will that be in a real war?" But George believed in his rifle, custom-stocked, finely sighted, tuned for accuracy, and he was confident in his marksmanship. He carried it into the humid, mosquito-infested jungles, into trenches and foxholes, and into counter-sniper missions that many in his battalion considered too risky. By November 10, 1943, reports had come in. Japanese sniper activity was intensifying. Over the previous 48 hours, at least 7 American soldiers had been killed by unseen sharpshooters. Morale was shaky. Men lay awake in their foxholes, convinced a sniper was watching every clearing, targeting officers, radio men, and anyone who dared move. George's unit was ordered to deploy a counter-sniper patrol. He volunteered, but some laughed. "Don't you need an official sniper rifle for that?" Havoc in the ranks grew every time someone was picked off. George set up in a concealed observation point about 200 yards from the perimeter, the dense green of the tropical jungle pressing in all around him. Humidity clung to his uniform. Sweat dampened his brow as he gripped his rifle. At dawn on November 11th, he observed a faint movement in the jungle to his front, a glint, perhaps a scope. He quietly ranged the target, about 250 meters out, on a slight ridge across a streambed. He steadied his breath, the deer rifle's bolt-action mechanism in his hands, feeling reassuringly familiar. Then, the sniper fired. The crack echoed in the still morning, and George responded, a clean shot, unexpected and precise. The target fell, and George had his first Japanese sniper. The men around him barely registered until they saw him stand, rifle raised, then lower it. "Did he just?" someone whispered. Over the next 12 hours, the threat intensified. By 1400 hours, more sniper fire had ripped through the lines. Radios crackled, stretcher bearers rushed forward, more soldiers fell. George's company commander, a captain, called for more counter-sniper pressure. George, now wounded and pried by taunts over his civilian rifle, insisted on staying. Night fell, and the jungle came alive with insects, whispers, and tension. Japanese snipers moved, shifting among trees, adjusting positions. George moved with them, slipping through undergrowth, crawling to a new vantage point. The sweat of the day turned to sticky dampness again. On November 12th, George spotted another sniper, this time perched high in a tree, silhouetted against the horizon by the rising sun. The Japanese sniper had a Type 97 Arisaka with a 2.5 scope, likely using it to pick off men below. George maneuvered. He lay prone, ranging the target about 300 yards away now. The rifle felt foreign to some, but in his hands it was natural. He squeezed. 2 thuds. The sniper fell. Word began to travel. That mail-order rifle got him, the men muttered, but they were still skeptical. Could he sustain this? On November 13th, things exploded. The enemy sniper teams coordinated a campaign. 3 different sectors reported contact, ranging from sniper fire to movement, shadowy forms drifting through the brush. George moved again, this time with a spotter, a sergeant who watched his back, feeding him information on wind, range, and elevation. By late afternoon, they pinned down a sniper in a shallow bunker about 150 yards away, partially obscured by a camouflage net. Japanese soldiers rotated. One fired, then ducked, then another popped up. It was a switch team. George chambered round after round, each shot deliberate. He killed 2 more in that bunker before they scrambled away, leaving behind spent cartridges and the eerie silence of failure. Over those 4 days, George would continue to stalk these ghost shooters, move between observation points, and leap at shadows. Some of his kills came with agonizing close calls. At one point, a sniper nearly spotted his spotting partner, but George reacted, fired, and saved his comrade. Little did he know, he was building something legendary. By November 14th, everything seemed to be falling apart. The enemy sniper campaign had become audacious, multiple teams, brazen shots, and creeping close assaults under the cover of dense underbrush. George's own unit was taking casualties. His comrades were frightened, fatigued, angry, and desperate for results. Command called it a sniper crisis. The battalion's strength of resolve was fraying. They had no dedicated sniper platoon. The official snipers were few, and they were stretched thin. Higher command demanded a solution, and fast. George was ordered to take his rifle and go into the heart of the sniper network. He was told he might be walking into a trap, but there was no other option. The men around him watched him leave, rifle slung, pathfinder in hand, undergrowth so thick he vanishes like a ghost. He crept along a ridgeline. The soil was damp, the air thick. He smelled decay, rotting leaves, insects, sweat. He paused, perched behind a stump, listening. Then he heard whisper-soft movement, leaves brushing, a twig snapping, soft footfalls. He raised his mail-order rifle, its scope kissed by morning dew, and squeezed the trigger. A shot rang out. The target toppled. He had his 7th sniper. But he was not safe. Moments later, another sniper fired from his flank, nearly grazing George's boot. He dropped, rolled, fired again. The underbrush exploded in shrapnel and leaf litter. His heart pounded. Fatigue set in, his arms trembling, but he pressed on. He moved to a fallen log, disguised himself, repatched his position, and waited. He watched through his scope as Japanese soldiers moved between bunkers, carrying ammunition, clearing fields of fire. more shadowy shapes. George kept firing. He accounted for 3 more sniper kills that afternoon. By evening, he was exhausted, but he had made contact with at least 11 distinct sniper threats in 4 days. His body was battered, his mind razor-sharp in focus, but stained with the weight of every shot fired, every life taken. What seemed like an impossible task, neutralizing a coordinated sniper network with a non-official rifle, had brought him to the very edge. On November 15th, Command recognized what George had done. They assigned him a small formal spotter team,